It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. You imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us, and the world will live as one. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to all our viewers today to yet another Hidden Gems Spotlight series, Healthcare Heroes. Who are Hidden Gems? And for the first time viewers here, we are a group of singers who came together when tsunami hit in 2005. Our mission, sing with passion and support a cause. And Hidden Gems is back tonight again with one such cause that has taken over and shaken the entire humanity across the globe. Through this event today, would like to draw attention to experiences and a perspective from our guests today who have been directly or indirectly related to the current situation. Without further delay, let me introduce our first guest for tonight, Akshat Rajan.
Hi everyone. My name is Akshat.
Hi Akshat,
Having
how
me
are
on.
you? And Akshat is our fourth year medical student at PCOM and is specializing in emergency medicine right now. Akshat, it's all yours. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. So I'm in 24 hours. I'll be a fourth year, so I'm almost there, done with third year of medical school. Just wrapping up my internal medicine rotation. This summer I'll be applying for emergency medicine as well as along with a critical care aspect of it that I'm looking into. So this summer I'll be beginning my residency apps and everything. My interest in medicine really became apparent, I would say, like high school, early middle school. But it wasn't until my 2 years that I spent after college, I went to Penn State for a neurobiology major, that I really began to really become passionate in medicine when I worked in the ER in Langhorne, PA for 2 years, right before medical school.
I
And that's what really drove. me to not only medicine, but the emergency medicine aspect too.
Correct. I remember that very well, Akshat. I know you had joined the ER, and it was, I remember you sharing those interesting stories, interesting for us, but I'm sure you must have, you must have gone through, it was a new year for you the first time. So tell us more about it. Yes.
Yeah. So how it worked for us was we basically worked alongside all the ER physicians and occasionally the physician assistants. My job role was kind of like a scribe. So what we did was we got to document all the charting for the physicians from the moment the patient arrived till the patient left. I think it's purely one of the best medical experiences you can get before medical school, because you not only are along with the doctor during the evaluation of the patient, but during the actual diagnosis part, as well as, okay, we've come to a potential diagnosis. What are we going to do? So you see you see all that, and you see as well the highlights and the, I guess, the complicated parts of medicine, especially when it comes to dealing with insurance companies, nursing homes, families. So getting to see a full view of, what goes on in a hospital. I definitely recommend that experience to anyone interested in healthcare.
Absolutely. And I'm sure, and what are you doing right now? I mean, are I believe you're working in the suburb and rural care, right? You're working on those,
Yes. So right now I'm in I would say it's a community hospital, but they also have a residency in Bensalem, PA. I'm on my internal medicine rotation this month. So, and like I said, in 24 hours, I'll be done with my third year. So every month for us is like a different rotation. So they kind of give us a full exposure to every field and every attending in those fields. So, yeah.
Awesome. And I'm sure this is not the only thing you're doing, right, Akshat? I'm sure your other interests. What are those? Tell us about us.
Yeah, so I mean, I've always been known to dabble into too many things where it became a distraction for medical school, but I mean, life's meant to be lived, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah. So I've run like a cinematography gig for the last 10, 15 years. I played Ultimate Frisbee in college and in high school, and I continued to do that after college. And I would do a lot of filming associated with Ultimate Frisbee. Fun fact, but I was on ESPN Sports Center 3 times. So some of my clips have been seen by millions of people worldwide. So I really enjoy sports cinematography. I enjoy sports. I'm a big Eagles fan. Try catching in every game. Yeah, so it's a lot of filming, sports, and music. So I played violin for 10 years. I haven't been able to play violin in the last couple of years, but a few of my friends and I collaborated to make a music album 2 years ago. So we worked on that together for 2 years.
Awesome. I remember your violin days. And if I'm not mistaken, you were in our first show in 2005, Tsunami Relief.
I believe so,
Were
yeah.
you there in 2005 or?
2005, yeah.
2005.
Yeah.
So how did you know? I mean, how are you in Hidden Gems right now? Tell us more about that.
About music, about violin. So I guess it comes from my mom, who you guys will all be hearing about later today. I guess the interest in music came from her. I played violin, both Western violin and the South Indian version, which is the Carnatic violin, for most of my middle school and high school years. Played in the orchestras in high school as well as in middle school. And yeah, so we used to have, concerts not only for our orchestra, but we used to have all other charity concerts that we had along part of the orchestra group in our high school. And it kind of just came from there. And my mom joined Hidden Gems back in 2005, and rest is kind of history. So I remember playing in like one or two fundraiser reliefs alongside other people.
Absolutely, Akshat, and welcome again to this show. And it's so nice to have you over here. And thank you, Akshat. Thank you. Let me welcome our second guest for tonight. And he is a medical doctor, currently a physician practicing endocrinology, diabetes, and metabolism. And he's based out of Frederick, Maryland. Please welcome Prateek Shah.
Hi, everybody. My name is Prateek. Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me today.
Yep.
So my journey started, very early on in college. I went to Rutgers University, I always had a very strong interest in science. I like to do a lot of teaching, so I, tutored chemistry for an underrepresented minority student group in a program known as Odasis there. And then, I built this love of science and, volunteered at hospitals, just loved helping others, that needed help. And that's what led me to, apply to medical school and go in that track, after my, undergraduate studies. So I ended up applying, and then I got into, Drexel University for my medical school. And then it's been a long journey since that point.
Absolutely. I can see that definitely you've come a long ago and now you are a practicing physician. Aren't you also board certified in IM and you're certified, right?
Yeah,
we will tell more about
absolutely.
that.
So, I mean, it all started at Drexel. I did my 4 years of medical school training, kind of at the end of where Akshat is right now. And, after that, I ended up getting my MD degree. I then did internal medicine training for residency. I stayed in Philadelphia for that for the next 3 years. And then, during that time, you get to see many different fields within medicine. And I built a, passion for the field of endocrinology. And that's what led me then to move across the country to California, just for another 2 years to do subspecialty training in
Awesome.
fellowship for endocrinology. So now I'm board certified in both, internal medicine and endocrinology.
Absolutely. And you're also seeing patients, mainly outpatient in the setting and of course, focusing on thyroid and adrenal and other hormonal, changes here. Akshat, Prashid, I know this is not the end. You have other interests also. So what else do you do?
Of course, my whole life is not just, working in medicine. I also, of course, love sports. I'm a big fan of football and basketball. I've always followed those for years and years. I play the fantasy football with my friends every year, pretty much. I also love cooking, and I'm a huge foodie.
I have heard of that. Heard of
And we
that.
share a lot
Are
of pictures.
you still yet to invite me for one of those,
Anytime, Auntie, you can. I'll
absolutely
be
heard
happy
that.
to cook for you.
And
So
Pratik, now
that's
everybody's wondering why you are here. What's your association with Hidden Gems? Tell us about
yeah. So I was introduced to Hidden Gems, by my wife, Trishala, and then her family. So my father-in-law, Partha Uncle, who also is a very good singer and part of the Hidden Gems group. My sister-in-law, Anushka, who's also a good dancer, just like Trish, and they're all part of these events. And I've attended so many of them in the past, and they've always been a blast.
Absolutely. I think that's when you know that Hidden Gems, what we do, and our fundraisers, events. I remember sitting in, coming in, supporting us all the time. You and your family, and definitely welcome to the Hidden Gems family. And it's a pleasure to have you here, Pratik. And thank you so much, Pratik. Thanks so much for the introduction. Again, let me welcome today our next guest for today. And our next guest is Kaustubh Kulkarni. Kaustubh, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, Kaustubh, how are you? And Kaustubh is the 5th year student at MD PhD student at Mount Sinai. And I'll leave it to Kaustubh. Tell us more about yourself.
Sure. So yeah, as you mentioned, I'm a 5th year student now in the MD PhD program at Mount Sinai. So this program is 8 years long. It's basically the combination of the MD and the PhD. So you're not really saving too many years combining them, but it's my 5th year now, so I'm more than halfway done. Really, the thing that got me interested, well, I would say I was interested in neuroscience since early in college. I actually started working at a biochemistry lab, and my thesis project was a computational biochemistry project. But after graduation, I majored in neuroscience, and after graduation, I transitioned into more traditional neuroscience research. So at Rutgers Newark, I spent 2 years there studying cognitive science. And while I was doing that, I was also an EMT at Princeton, in Princeton, New Jersey.
Yes, I remember that EMT face of yours. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so that I think Akshat has spoken to this a little bit about how even someone that's in college or around that age, we can gain a lot from volunteering in these types of experiences. He was more working in the hospital, I think, but an EMT is more you actually go to like the scene of the accident or the scene of where people are calling you, and that to me, that was also a very eye-opening experience. And really the reason that I pursued the MD PhD was because I really loved both of these things. I loved being an EMT and I loved the research that I was doing, and the MD PhD was the perfect way to do that.
Perfect. And I think it gives you a good blend of both the, set of both your interests here. Absolutely. And you are also, anything else? Specifically MD in what? What are you doing MD in?
Yeah, so the first 4 years of MD are generally pretty broad, so you have to learn everything. I've completed my first 2 years, which are the didactic years, where you just learn about the normal and abnormal human physiology. And the last 2 years, which I haven't done yet, are working at the hospital, which is what Akshat is doing right now. So I haven't started that part. After my first 2 years, I went directly into the PhD, and now I'm going to complete my PhD. The PhD itself is in basically I'm studying decision making and craving, so kind of the cognitive and the emotional parts of addiction or addictive disorders, especially alcohol addiction and cannabis or marijuana addiction.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I think studying and I think it's giving a wholesome. You came from an EMT background and now you're doing the research in this and getting into psychological component also of the whole thing. So I think it just sums up the whole the whole thing. It's amazing. Now the question: how are you in Hidden Gems? I know about it. Let the world know. Let everyone know about it.
Yeah, so I have been part of Hidden Gems for a while. My father, Rajesh Kulkarni, and my mother, Rajeshri, my dad is actually one of the co-founders of Hidden Gems. So I've kind of been indirectly or directly involved for a long time, ever since the first program. We started, I actually sang in a couple of the programs early on. But then we eventually started our Hidden Gems band, which we do, we've done a lot of programs now. In the band, I played the keyboard, the guitar, and the saxophone. I've been playing instruments for a while. I really enjoy doing that.
I remember that. I think our events, of course, today we are, because of COVID situation, we didn't have the live event, but I think you've been an integral part of a live band, and you've been amazing there. And yeah, so do you still practice saxophone, guitar, and all that? Sorry to put you in spot, but
saxophone is a little hard. I mean, saxophone is, I'm sure there's people out there that just play saxophone by themselves, but it's so band dependent. Keyboards, you have to have a keyboard. I play sometimes, when I'm at home. The guitar, I think, is the thing that I've been sticking with most often, just because you can carry a guitar anywhere, and it's kind of like a whole band in itself. So I really enjoy playing the guitar.
I'll not be surprised that, you're keeping up the passion. Very soon you're going to be playing a guitar in the research center, and I'm just trying to put it together. So just other things. But and other than that, I know you are an ardent basketball fan. Am I right?
Yeah.
So
I'm a huge basketball fan. I mean, a couple other people have also mentioned that they're big sports fans. I love playing basketball. I still play in recreational leagues sometimes. And, I watch, I'm so excited that the NBA playoffs are starting soon. It's kind of nice that things are sort of going back to normal. It feels like that, at least when you hear about these types of things happening. So, it's encouraging in that way, but I'm just also a big basketball fan too. So.
Sure, absolutely. Because when you live in different states, I'll not ask whom you're going to support now, but that's a different question. Let's not go there. But anyway, thank you so much, Kaustubh. Thanks so much for coming in. Stay right there. I'll come back to you. Let me introduce the next guest. I'm very, very excited to introduce our next guest, Mahendra Solanki. Mahendra, welcome.
Hello, everybody. How are you?
Hi, Mahendra. How are you?
I'm all right. A little hungry, but okay.
Good, good. Mahendra. So I have known you for so while, and you've been an integral part of, I think, let's before we get there, you come from a healthcare background.
Correct.
And you've been 20 years in the field of healthcare, focusing on development, growth, and oversight of medical education. It's all yours. Tell us more about that.
Okay. I think healthcare field is very exciting. It gives you an opportunity to do something that you really intrinsically want. That's how I felt. I did my schooling in New York and did my residency there, administrative residency, which is part of the program. And then got a chance to work in the medical education field and have been in there for 20 years. And very important aspect that occurred was to help institutions develop training programs for physicians. So basically creating pipelines. So I see Akshats, I see Kaustubhs, and I see Pratiks. All of them going from med schools to physician training or the residency as they're called, and then graduate. So that has been very exciting for me. In my 20 years, I've seen at least about 350 or 400 physicians, graduating, medical students to trainees, and then full practicing physicians.
Great, amazing. And today you're sharing the screen with them, like where you have the other guests who have the same. So you've been meeting, pretty much every spectrum of students, I would say, or every area of students over here, and absolutely. So tell me, you also started new training programs, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, that's outside that. I have started quite a few programs, like in the institutions say, okay, we have a need for internists or internal medicine specialist, or OBGYN, or family medicine, or emergency medicine, like what Akshat wants to go into. That is something that we are looking at where I am right now also. Those things are a long process. Involves a lot of intricacies and everything, but it is what it is that allows the institution to not only just train them, but when you train somebody at your institution, you're more likely to keep them once they graduate. So hiring a physician is a very expensive and a lengthy process. So this is like creating a pipeline, and you're creating future workforce, healthcare workforce.
So Mahendra, so anyone can reach out to you if they have any questions, any training related, how to do the program, the residency, the students, everyone.
Absolutely. Please feel free to get in touch with me. I will point you in the directions as much as I know.
Perfect. And you're currently working in.
I work in a hospital in Southern Jersey, South Jersey.
Correct. Correct. And you're associated with JFK, or am I right?
No, we are associated with a hospital in South Jersey. It's a healthcare system there.
Great. Got it. And Mahendra, I know most of us know you very well here, but tell us how your association of Hidden Gems. I shouldn't say your association. You've been one of the founder members of Hidden Gems.
I would put it as I think I had a privilege. I think I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. Along with Rajesh, Kaustubh's dad. And we sort of talked and thought about having this thing at the same time when this tsunami had occurred. So yes, I think it is more of a coincidence that I was there and we were able to work together and start this group, fantastic group. We have pretty dedicated and talented Hidden Gems. Anyone, if they had the opportunity, they would have started the Hidden Gems too. So, I'm just a member and a small part of a fantastic group.
Sure, absolutely, Mahendra. Your contributions are really, really, we know the amount of contributions that you do here. And tell us more about your interest, other than, of course, career, singing, and Hidden Gems. Cooking.
Cooking and eating and feeding.
Okay.
feeding also. When I was in school in New York, and I used to work in the lab also at the same time, and there were like about 20 people that used to come to my apartment and used to cook. So even though and a lot of them were Italians, so they used to really love because they probably eat hot, sausages and stuff like that. So spicy food, some of them used to love it. They used to eat. They all used to call me, though I'm not Italian, an Italian mama, because they used to get fed. I would literally sit on them and say, eat, eat, eat. So
So thank you so much, Mahendra, and stay put, stay tuned. I mean, stay right there, and it's a pleasure to have you on board here.
same here, same here. I'm happy
So-
to be here.
So as you see, we
Thank
have
you.
entire spectrum of, I would say, from the doctors, researchers to the medical educational here. And before I further continue, let me just start with a song. How about a song from Nikhil? And Nikhil is one of our Hidden Gems singer.
This song is dedicated to all the healthcare workers specifically who put their lives at risk every single day to make sure that our lives are okay. And I don't think we see half of what they see, and it's important that we keep them in mind and show our gratitude towards them. So this is a song in spirit of that. ये हौसला कैसे झुके, ये आरज़ू कैसे रुके, ये हौसला कैसे झुके, ये आरज़ू कैसे रुके, मंजिल मुश्किल तो क्या, धुंधला साहिल तो क्या, तन्हाए दिल तो क्या, ये हौसला कैसे झुके, ये आरज़ू कैसे रुके. राह पे कांटे बिखरे अगर, उस पे तो फिर भी चलना ही है. शाम छुपा ले सूरज मगर, रात को एक दिन ढलना ही है. रुत ये ढल जाएगी, हिम्मत रंग लाएगी, सुबह फिर आएगी. ये हौसला कैसे झुके, ये आरज़ू कैसे रुके, मंजिल मुश्किल तो क्या, धुंधला साहिल तो क्या, तन्हाए दिल तो क्या.
That is awesome, Nikhil, and thank you so much. And Nikhil is, most of us know who Nikhil is. He is one of our very popular hot singer from Hidden Gems. Why are we here today? The need of the hour and the cause is very evident. COVID-19 has affected many parts of the world, and today, as we speak, the most hit is India. The second wave in India has really caused huge panic. It's not only testing the democracy of to handle the situation. It's like testing a lot of things. I think India is really going through a lot at this point of time. And in an attempt to support, Hidden Gems has stepped to sing with passion and support a cause, which has been our motto. this coming Sunday on May 23rd to support and collect towards a COVID relief in India. If you have not bought your tickets here, please do so at the earliest. You can always reach out one of our Hidden Gems members, or you can reach out to me and buy your tickets here. We have limited seats and would love to see you there. And you can always look up at the program details in our website, which is www.hidden-gems.org. So come help us out and let's work towards COVID relief in India. Before I continue here, I would love to get Hemant. I would like to get Hemant, who has been one of our supporter, I would say, he's been engaged with Hidden Gems for a long time. Let me have Hemant come in and speak about us. Speak here, Hemant.
Hello everyone, my name is Hemant Joshi. I have been settled here in New Jersey for last 20 years and I'm a social worker, I'm IT professional, I'm associated with various NGOs here in US supporting the rural and agricultural and farmer causes in India. And through that network I'm also in touch with a lot of NGOs in India that are working at rural level. The reason I'm talking to you today is about the wonderful fundraiser that Hidden Gems is putting together. These are amazing group of talented artists that work extremely hard to put a professional show in front of you. But what's the more urgent need for such a kind of cause is the COVID situation in India. When COVID first arrived for most of us, it was last year. And it was brutal here in US. I have lost some dear friends and family members to it. And now what is happening in India is that the second COVID wave has not only reached cities, which it did in first wave as well, but in rural areas as well. Now I just want to take a moment for you to realize that, and I'm not by any means saying that the efforts in rural areas are more important than urban areas in India. Cities are in facing different challenges, but rural areas in India for COVID are facing challenges that are at a very different magnitude. The healthcare system in India was never designed and was never set up to be strong among rural parts of the country. And this is evident with what is going on with COVID, not only COVID rate, but also mortality rate in rural parts of India. And I'm not just talking about one state, one district. This is quite common. But what is not common are the challenges that they're facing in rural areas are different. It's not just oxygen shortage. It's not just ambulance shortage to kind of commute people, but also having these secondary care units apart from the single district level hospital that is full to the capacity. There is 9-10 days wait time, even 5-6 days wait time in some cases to get a hospital bed. So their challenges are with the equipment, their challenges are with the technicians in rural parts of India. So Hidden Gems is putting together a wonderful show for all of us to enjoy, but at the same time help a wonderful cause towards COVID relief in India. So I appeal to you, I urge you, I request you to consider this, reach deep into your pockets. Either if you can attend the show, buy the tickets, attend in person. If you can't attend in person, we understand that, but buy a virtual ticket and enjoy the show online. If you can't do that, that is fine too. Donate online and make sure your help that you're providing through your donation gets counted for. Thank you so much. Stay safe, put the mask on, get vaccinated. All those things are true, but at the same time, spare a moment for what's happening for some of the underprivileged folks in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hemant. As you heard, Hemant, definitely the situation is very, very bad back in India. And again, if you're not able to come in person, we can understand there's option to donate and everything, all this information is there in our website. You can donate to us, one of the Hidden Gem members, or just go to our website once again. It's www.hidden-gems.org. Let me move forward and let me call upon Ujjwala, who is going to come up with a beautiful, beautiful song. Ujjwala.
Hello. Thank you all for having me on the show today. Before I started, I just wanted to say a little shout out to the healthcare heroes in my life, to my friends and family, several of whom are who I consider to be healthcare heroes. I salute you. Ever since COVID came to our doorstep, it feels like you have all been deployed and are fighting on the front lines with this invisible enemy, and it has been terrifying. I have felt this terror firsthand. And so to all the other healthcare heroes families, I salute you as well. Nothing that we can say will ever be enough. And for all that you do, thank you so much. The song that I'll be singing is a little prayer, and I have a small dedication. This goes out to my family, my friends, to all of your families who are hurting in India. This goes out to my brothers and sisters who are hurting in Palestine, and to everyone else who is hurting around the world. This prayer is for you. आ जाओ कि सब मिलके रब से दुआ मांगे, जीवन में सुबह चाहे चाहत में वफा मांगे, हालात बदलने में अब देर न हो मालिक, जो दे चुके तेरे लिए अंधेर न हो मालिक। एक तू ही भरोसा, एक तू ही सहारा, इस तेरे जहां में नहीं कोई हमारा। ईश्वर या अल्लाह ये पुकार सुन ले, ईश्वर या अल्लाह है दाता। ईश्वर या अल्लाह ये पुकार सुन ले, ईश्वर या अल्लाह है दाता। हमसे न देखा जाए बर्बादियों का समा, उजड़ी हुई बस्ती में ये तड़प रहे इंसान। हमसे न देखा जाए बर्बादियों का समा, उजड़ी हुई बस्ती में ये तड़प रहे इंसान। नन्हे जिस्मों के टुकड़े लिए खड़ी एक माँ, बारूद के धुएं में तू ही बोल जाए कहाँ। एक तू ही भरोसा, एक तू ही सहारा, इस तेरे जहां में नहीं कोई हमारा। ईश्वर या अल्लाह ये पुकार सुन ले, ईश्वर या अल्लाह है दाता। मेरी पुकार सुन ले, ईश्वर या अल्लाह। मेरी पुकार सुन ले, मेरी पुकार सुन ले, मेरी पुकार सुन ले। Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ujjwala. That was really, really breathtaking. Really, really nice. As you know, just continuing with the COVID situation here, we know what the situation is here, and I can't emphasize how it's so important that we take our precautions, take our vaccines, and we mask, put on a mask. So I would say we do our bit, we stay fit. That's how I would put it together here. So let me start a second segment here, and I'd like to call upon again Prateek and Akshat. Prateek?
Yes, hello.
Yeah, hi,
So,
Prateek. Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, we wanted to start by, just saying, in the medical system and the training that all of us have gone through, before COVID, happened, it was a very structured system. I've gone through myself 13 years now of training, but the last 1 year or so with the COVID pandemic, it's been very different, to say the least. I'm sure Akshat can, elaborate on that as well.
Okay, absolutely. And Akshat, you're there.
Yeah.
How is your pre-COVID situation right now? I mean, earlier. I mean, I'm just talking about the pre-COVID. How is it, and how is it right now? How do you think?
Yeah, so because I mean, unlike Prateek, I only really got major in the hospitals in the last year. I guess pre-COVID times really takes me back towards my 2 years before medical school. And like you said, it was, a lot more structure, a lot more just there was no like second thought of like the precautions against, like that we're taking now. Like really it was only like, very few things where people were isolated. Like I remember like only seeing like tuberculosis, like, those are the real rooms that were really kept away. And now it's, on the daily. So because I started my third year rotations literally at the beginning of COVID, I have really only gotten to see a post-COVID life in the hospital. But before med school, I agree, a lot of structure, not as much anxiety running around as much as we are anxious in the hospital. It was a little more relaxed. Yeah, so.
Absolutely. And Prateek, what do you think your COVID situation right now? How is it? How has it affected you and your practice, I would say?
Yeah, definitely. So, when COVID happened, the first thing is, how do we adapt to this situation that's brand new? Nobody has dealt with such a pandemic, at least in our generation or lifetime. And even, a lot of my older mentors that have been practicing for years, nobody has gone through anything like this. So there are a lot of things that were tried, hospital, employees came together, healthcare workers from all different types, and locations came together. There's new things now like telemedicine that had to be implemented on the spot. We had to basically just go with the flow and learn things along the way. There was even new medical problems that arose as well. Most of what I do is with the diabetes and thyroid. And diabetes in patients that have COVID, the blood sugars go crazy. And this is something that nobody has managed before, but we had to basically figure out, how do we treat this and how do we control it? So it's, like Akshat was saying, it's a lot more patients that are isolated, a lot more, getting exposed basically. They were running out of, equipment for us to protect ourselves. So you always get scared to go to work, every day because you're exposing yourself. But at the same time, it's our duty. This is what we signed up to do. And, when we're called upon, we have to go and, take care of our patients first. And that's where, COVID really made a big impact.
Sure, absolutely. And I think hats off to you guys. I don't know how, it's tough. I know it's tough. Akshat, even though he's the student, he also is, he's facing the COVID situation here, and it's really grave out there. And same with you, Prateek, also same. So I think absolutely, thank you. I mean, I would say definitely, commendable for you guys to be there, step in and do what is need to do, the need of the hour. So how has it personally affected you, Prateek, the situation?
Yeah, so I mean, for me, as I said, I did my endocrinology training in California, but all of my family and even my wife's family is mostly on the East Coast in New Jersey, so it was very difficult, every single day while I went to work, worrying about myself and scared that I would get COVID or expose myself. Every single day, I would also be thinking of my family, my friends, our extended families, Trisha's family, all of the people that we knew on the East Coast or that we were close to that weren't around. We were
Correct.
so far apart, we couldn't travel as much, everything was closed or shut down. So we worried, especially, there was a
Especially you being being in the front ending there. Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Akshat,
on top of that, we basically moved then during the middle of the pandemic in July. I had to find housing here, then had to take my board exam, and all of these things were very difficult to do without being able to travel freely, interviewing for jobs, my first job outside of training. So all of these things became very difficult, but again, just something to work through and figure out.
sure, absolutely, absolutely, Pratik. How about you, Akshat? Personally, how has it affected you?
So because as a student, we were, they were still trying to get us some sort of education every month. It was really stressful for us med students because a lot of rotations were getting canceled because a lot of doctors were not comfortable with another person in the room or, two other people in the room. So luckily for me, I was able to, my location spot was where I did all my rotations, or if not most. So I was fortunate to be in the hospital the whole time. So I didn't have that stress of, okay, next month, where am I going? Am I going to have this rotation? So that stress, I didn't feel as much, but it definitely was chaotic because it was kind of like practicing like really raw medicine because next thing you know, I started off last summer with my cardiology rotation, but sometimes we'd have to go to the ER to see a patient just because there was an overflow and we were helping out. So it was very, like I said before, the structure wasn't there. It was everyone just learning the system as you went along with it. So that sense of seeing like a non-structured kind of just throw it as you go medicine in terms of like training every month was definitely very eye-opening. And I also give credit to all the physicians that had to put aside the stress of, taking care of their patients, their normal work, being stressed about getting COVID, and also having to worry about us med students having to take time to educate us, and the residents. So, I really commend the actual attendings during the last year for being able to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akshat, for bringing that side of what's happening out there. We don't, that's completely great. So at this time, juncture, let me take a break and, call upon Janvi singing a wonderful, wonderful song for us. Janvi.
Hi everyone, I'm Janvi, and today I'll be singing We Are the World. Before I begin, I would just like to give my sincere gratitude to healthcare workers who have shown so much compassion,
That looks like there's some technical difficulty in putting this together. So can we give us a minute? I think in the meantime, why don't I call upon Kaustubh also to speak about his points about COVID and pre-COVID situation. Kaustubh.
Sure. So yeah, I can talk to about what life was like for me before COVID started. We have our other guests here are mostly they can give the medical point of view. So I'll talk a little bit more about the research side of things.
Correct.
Before COVID started, much of research was very collaborative. So, we had weekly seminars that people would go and update you on their research. We had in-person classes where, everyone benefited from being in person. I was a TA for a medical school class, brain and behavior. All of these things really benefited from being collaborative. My research is mostly computational, so everything can be done remotely. But I remember before COVID started, everything was collaborative, and I think we all benefited from that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Mahendra, let me call upon Mahendra also. You're in the same conversation. Mahendra, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, Mahendra. Yes. So how has that affected you in this COVID situation? How is the training and other areas that you are so involved?
Right. I think in the pre-COVID part, everything was normal. Most of the modalities that are there in teaching are usually in person. So there is a lot of interaction and everything goes on. So there was not much different in what they have. They have night shifts and everything. They have something called morning reports where the handing of the patient information is given to different batch of residents. They have grand rounds where big lectures occur on different topics. And one of the most important aspects is bedside teaching. This is where the residents are there, students are there, and the teaching faculty is there.
Sure.
Those things were so normal to see at that time. Everything changed later.
Absolutely. I think a lot of changes. And Kaustubh, coming back to you, how is it enabled the research? Has it, you being in remote researching, has it changed any new developments, any new research?
Yeah, so I think that was the biggest thing in COVID for me, was transitioning the research to remote. And it wasn't just me, it was every research group had to do this. And it led to some pretty big changes in research. And I think a lot of them are actually very welcome and will be very useful in the future. So, when COVID started, many labs shifted their focus to this major problem. This isn't my field of research, but I know about this a little bit. Things like developing a new vaccine, which we've done in record time, is pretty incredible. It's the way that this vaccine works is very different than most vaccines. I'm happy to talk about it in a little more detail if you're interested, if anybody is interested. Sure. But something like that. Do you want me to just briefly?
I think, I don't know whether we have the time to go in details here, but I think it's been an experimental for everyone. It's a new strain, new something new, and I'm sure the research industry would have faced the most challenge as to come up with the right solution, and everybody's looking up at you, right?
That's exactly it. And it's not just the vaccine part, but the things like the telehealth part that Pratik mentioned and Mahendra uncle mentioned. How to improve the relationship between physicians over something like Zoom. The psychological factors that play an impact on COVID. All of these things are very important to study.
Correct. So psychologically, economically, as well as, so I think, I'm sure you're doing the research in that area also, how to help people who has been affected psychologically during this COVID times also. So pretty much, I think it's a lot of transformation in the research industry. And, thank you so much for your contribution here, Kaustubh here. And Mahendra, coming back to I think the administrative side of it, I know this would have affected, Mahendra, you're there?
Yes, I'm here.
So Mahendra, this would have definitely affected your industry, as a healthcare industry is affected in certain way also. It is.
Yes, of course.
Research is increased.
I think personally speaking, first, I felt all the emotions that you can think of: anxiety, stress, and as Pratik was mentioning, fear of unknown. We don't know this virus. It's totally. And then helplessness. You can't help in a lot of things. So that was very important. I saw 2 surges of COVID-19 at my hospital, and it is so unknown. People didn't know what to do. Plan of care is what we are talking about, and what Pratik was mentioning too is something that is so unknown. So it's something you feel so helpless and scared.
Absolutely, and I think if the inpatient patients have gone down, otherwise, I think because of tele visits. So there is some action in
Correct. I mean, virtual learning, interviewing for the residency programs, graduations were also all virtual. And then, of course, medical schools had pulled away all the medical students because they're scared also. And we were making sure that we don't expose medical students who are not that ready to take care of the patients, whom even the regular full-time practicing attendings even don't know how to deal with. And of course, that resulted in a lot of reduction in our patient population, inpatient, outpatient surgeries and stuff like that. So what does that translate to? Money. If you don't, the hospital lost somewhere around $80 million last year. And that's a huge amount of money.
It's a huge amount of loss in the industry also. So absolutely. So I'm sure this has also affected you personally also, right, Mahendra?
Absolutely. So, first of all, looking from the work perspective, budgets got reduced.
Correct.
And also with not having enough patients, staff becomes an issue. So personally, I had to lay off some folks who worked with me. And that was very tough because as such situation is bad and then you are letting them go. And that was really, really
So layoffs is there pretty much across all industries. I've seen it pretty much. I think I would say travel industry, healthcare, and I wouldn't say healthcare, but certain hospitality and a lot of industries. And healthcare is also affected, which is a news to me. It's I thought they were at the top. And Kaustubh, personally, how has this affected you, Kaustubh?
Yeah, so I guess my experience as a student is a little bit different. Like I said, transitioning to remote, I think, was the biggest, adaptation that had to be made. I felt this myself, and I think many students felt a level of burnout that, there's expectations that you are making progress in graduate school, but then when you're remote, you kind of always need to be available. It's like, oh, all you need to do is turn your computer on and you should be available. But that's not reasonable for anybody, whether it's a student or somebody that's a physician. There's a lot more expectation, I think, and a lot more burnout.
Absolutely. I think it's a
component of being unable to meet people as often. Like I said, personally, I had to move a couple of times during the pandemic. That's there's just little personal issues like that, and of course worrying about family and friends too. It's just everything.
Absolutely. So I think everybody is going through this, and of course, and so anyway, thank you so much again, Mahendra and Kaustubh, to sharing a little bit, more in length about what's going on. Let me bring back, call upon again Janvi. I apologize, due to technical difficulties, we had to cut the video off, but yes, Janvi. Let's have Janvi Seshadri.
Hi everyone, I'm Janvi, and today I'll be singing We Are the World. Before I begin, I would just like to give my sincere gratitude to healthcare workers who have shown so much compassion, care, and courage during this past year of the COVID-19 pandemic. We are so grateful and thankful for all that you have done to keep the rest of us safe, and all the sacrifices you have made to keep the rest of us safe. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this song. There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying, oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can go on pretending day by day that someone somehow will soon make a change. We are all a part of God's great big family, and the we are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we'll make a better day. Just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares and their lives are free.
It was awesome, Janvi, and what an apt song for the evening. And thank you so much. And like most of you know, Janvi is also one of our hidden gem singers, and she's been there right from the day one of the inception of Hidden Gems. And thank you so much, Janvi. And that reminds me again, talk about the show, our upcoming show again on May 23rd. Please do buy your tickets and support the cause. And let me call upon our one more singer of the day, which Chitra. Chitra has been associated with Hidden Gems since 2005, and she, of course, Akshat, whom you just met, Akshat is here because of Chitra. Chitra has been one of our singers since then. Chitra.
Thank you, Girija. Thank you.
Yeah. Chitra, you want to introduce yourself, a few minutes, what are you going to sing, and tell us what you're going to do, and then we can start from there.
Yeah, I thought I will also sing a song which is more apt for this occasion. And thank you, everybody. And yeah, just like Ujjwala and everybody said, salute to the healthcare workers. Thank you so much. Here's the song. नाम न जाने धाम न जाने जाने न सेवा पूजा जाने बस इतना जान हम एक बिना नहीं दूजा तुम आशा विश्वास हमारे तुम धरती आकाश हमारे तुम धरती आकाश हमारे रामा तुम आशा विश्वास हमारे तुम धरती आकाश हमारे तुम ही सब में है तुम में सब तुम ही भव हो तुम ही रब तुम ही सब में है तुम में सब तुम ही भव हो तुम ही रब अश्रु हमारी आँखों में तुम रामा तुम होठों पर हास हमारे रामा तुम आशा विश्वास हमारे रामा हमारे दाता हमारे तुम आशा विश्वास हमारे.
That was so beautiful, Chitra, and very, very apt for the program. And Tum Asha Vishwas Hamare. I think Asha is, I think that's where the hope, I would say, is the end of the tunnel. Yes, there is always a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always the bright side, positive changes, bright side at the end of the tunnel, and that's what we can hope. Where we are, and I would say you're the generation who will be coming up with more resilient and more as the new generations over here, and With that in thought, I would like to call upon all our guests once again, Akshat, Rishit, Mahindra, and Kaustubh.
Yes,
So, yes, hi, welcome again. And as you're coming to the fag end of the program, yes, we'd like to end with a positive note here. And Pratik, what do you think? What is it? How are we?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a long journey, right? It's been over a year now since we've been dealing with this pandemic and COVID, but we've also made a lot of advances, a lot of steps forward. You know, we have vaccines now, and, you know, I agree with everything, of course, that everyone's already said earlier. Everyone needs to get vaccinated. You know, it's the right thing to do, not just to protect yourself, but everyone else around you. On top of that, you know, there is truly a light at the end of the tunnel. You know, you're actually seeing things are starting to normalize and open up. Case rates are going down. Severe infections are going down. The hospitalization rates are going down for, you know, really bad COVID cases. But we also now have, you know, an infrastructure in place so that if things get worse, you know, we have the ability to make more vaccines quicker, you know, this next time.
Sure,
We have
tested
plans.
area, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Akshat, what are your thoughts around this?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of advancements because of what's going on in the last year or two, in terms of like the future for healthcare providers, like the whole introduction and advancements with telehealth. I mean, Zoom, you know, Zoom's being used actively by a lot of healthcare networks, and Doximity, I believe. But really just, I guess, being prepared for the future, like hopefully, you know, God forbid there's another pandemic of some sort in the future. This has definitely taught us a lot of how to handle it, how to administer the chaos and delegate all the tasks to people during things like this. I guess more so another thing is, we really, how should I say this? I guess we can always be prepared for the unprepared is what they say, but I guess for especially me as a student going in and already getting an exposure to something like this that happens once in a generation. I believe the last time was like the Spanish flu and whatnot, but seeing it completely revolutionize medicine as well. I was speaking to one of the physicians I work with, and he was saying this past year in their hospital, there was a sudden decrease in flu cases, doctors calling out sick with non-COVID related illnesses. So I guess with the new standards we're issuing for not only healthcare providers and patients, maybe we can develop a better way to protect not only the people working at the hospital, but the patients as well, with these new advancements and ways to prevent contagious illnesses other than just COVID. So I think it's kind of revolutionized that aspect as well in terms of not only COVID prevention, but how are we as people just preventing ourselves from other things as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Akshat. And Kaustubh, what do you think about it?
So yeah, I think the medical side of this, both Akshat and Pratik have talked about. Part of the research that my lab does is about, like I said, the psychological aspect of this. And I think, you know, there's a lot of, we've really been encouraged, I think, in the research field to see how resilient people are even in the face of such a huge adversity. You know, and a lot of groups have now tried to identify what these protective factors are that will help you get over this. And the things that I think are the most important are having strong social support from your family and friends, being as informed as you can with, you know, the appropriate sources about COVID, and being as up to date as you can about the latest medical research. And surprisingly, actually limiting your social media use is actually pretty protective against your psychological health. So, you know, try not to use Facebook as much as you.
I understand where you're coming from. Absolutely. I think, absolutely, but it's an informed decision everybody's making. And I think social media does help. And also sometimes it goes against, you know, it can stir a little bit uncertainty and the fear in people's mind. Yes. I think it's up to you how much you want to take and you don't want to take. So I think that's what it is. It's what boils down to. Thank you so much, Kaustubh. Mahindra, what do you think? I mean,
I think what everybody is coming is saying is that it's boiling down to new norm. We have different rules under COVID, and I think we must understand them and accept them, and act accordingly, behave accordingly, take the precautions that you need to. Don't be silly. We are in the pandemic. It hasn't gone away yet. 20%, about 1/3 of the population in the US has been vaccinated. More are getting vaccinated. And we are seeing, as Akshat was saying, Pratik was saying, patient deaths and admissions and everything has decreased. What hasn't gone away is the virus. The virus is still around, and it is changing. As many infection occurs, transmissions occur, mutations occur, new viruses can come. Breakthrough infections, what is called, is when you have vaccinated and you get infection again. That is happening. And what is happening is also, we are seeing a lot of long haulers, as they say, people who had gotten infection but did not get very sick, but have other effects on them, which are long term. So this is something very, very important.
Absolutely.
We should know.
Yeah, and you being in the education, driving the education system among the doctors and everything, I'm sure you're seeing a transition there also. I think the next generation will learn different things and be prepared for different things. I think you'll see a transition in the way the education system also is going to change and how it's going to evolve. I can see a lot of changes there.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So thank you so much, all of you, for coming here. But we're not done here yet. I would love to call upon Rashmi Kulkarni, who's coming, who's going to present to us with a wonderful, wonderful song for the event. Rashmi.
Hello, everyone. Everyone has said it all. So all our health heroes have been doing some amazing job, and full gratitude and a big thank you for it. So stay safe. And here's my song for full-on positivity. So. रुक जाना नहीं तू कहीं हार के, कांटों पे चल के मिलेंगे साए बाहर के। ओ राही 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 ओ राही। कारवा है ये तेरा इम्तिहान है, साथी न कारवा है ये तेरा इम्तिहान है। यूं ही चला चल दिल के सहारे, करती है मंजिल तुझको इशारे। कहीं कोई रोक नहीं ले तुझको पुकार के। ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही ओ राही। बेडाल तू नजर हालातों से हार गए, कहाँ चला रे हाथ की लकीरों को उड़ता मरोड़ता है हौसला रे। तो खुद तेरे ख्वाब के रंग में तू अपने जहां को भी रंग दे, कि चलता हूँ मैं तेरे संग में। हो शाम भी तो क्या जब होगा अंधेरा, तब पाएगा दर मेरा, उस दर पे फिर होगी तेरी सुबह।
Thank you so much, Rashmi. Thank you so much. There's such an apt song. Ruk Jana Nahi. Yes, absolutely. And let me call upon again all the guests here, Mahendra, Prateek, Kaustubh, Akshat. Thank you, all of you. Again, Prateek, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Yes, thank you so much, Mahendra. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
and
Thank you.
everyone.
Pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Kaustubh, and thank you, Akshat. Yeah. So again, thank you again to all the guests today over here, and they have taken the time out from the busy schedule, and we put this program together very quickly. I would say like within a couple of days. And thank you so much for contribution. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your input, insight, and taking us through the journey of right from what happens front ending and what happens in research and what happens in the other areas of healthcare system. So I think I'm sure our viewers are absolutely enjoyed the show today. Like everyone says, this will pass. It's been 100 years since the last pandemic, and the lessons learned by the humankind today, I'm sure, and the medical progressions that we have made today, I'm sure this will also pass. So once again, thank you, viewers. And again, don't forget to buy your tickets for the Sunday show, which is May 23rd. And hope to see most of you there. And thank you. Good night. Stay safe.